You've lived in your home for years, maybe decades. You've rearranged the furniture more times than you can count, tried different curtains, different rugs, different arrangements, and yet something still feels off. The room feels smaller than it should, heavier than it should, and you can't quite put your finger on why. And the worst part? You've probably spent money trying to fix it, maybe a lot of money. New pieces, new decor, new everything. And still that same uncomfortable feeling that the space just isn't working. That quiet frustration every time you walk in and nothing feels right. That's exhausting, and it's not your fault. Here's what I want you to hear. It is almost never about the square footage. The problem is almost always the same. A handful of specific decisions working against the space without anyone realizing it. Today, we're going through 10 of them. From the quickest fix to the one at number 1 that will permanently change how you see every room you walk into for the rest of your life. And before we dive in, if you've ever felt like your home just doesn't feel like you, no matter what you try, smash that like button right now. Because what you're about to learn is going to make everything click. And the part that matters most of these fixes cost absolutely nothing. Curtains that end at the window instead of the ceiling. Something that seems completely logical until you understand what it's actually doing to your room. Most people hang their curtains right above the window frame. It makes complete sense. The curtain covers the window. Job done, right? Here's what that actually does. It draws an invisible horizontal line across your wall, right in the middle of it, that cuts your ceiling height in half. Your brain reads that line as the ceiling. And suddenly, a room with 9-foot ceilings feels like it has 6-foot ceilings. The fix is almost free. Move the curtain rod to at least 4 to 6 inches above the window frame, and if your ceiling height allows it, go as high as possible. That's about 10 to 15 centimeters for those watching from Canada, the UK, or Australia. Let the panels fall all the way to the floor. That single change can make your room feel a foot taller overnight. If you have baseboard heating under your window, make sure the curtains fall in front of the baseboard, not over it, so the heat can still circulate. Every piece of furniture has 4 sharp corners. Look around your living room and count the corners. Sofa, 4 corners. Coffee table, 4 corners. TV stand, 4 corners. Side table, 4 corners. Dozens of hard angles all competing for attention in one room. Every single one is a visual stop sign. Your eye hits it, pauses, moves on. In a small space, that constant stopping and starting reads to your brain as cramped and busy. You don't need to replace everything. One change makes a significant difference. If your coffee table is square or rectangular, consider swapping it for an oval or round version. Your eye will flow around it instead of stopping at it, and the whole room will breathe. Accent chairs with curved arms and slimmer legs do the same thing. HomeGoods and TJ Maxx carry beautiful versions at very reasonable prices. The recliner or oversized sofa that's not working with the room. And before anything else, if you have a recliner you love, keep it. If you have a larger sofa because you need the lumbar support, because your family fits on it on Sunday afternoons, or because it's the one place that genuinely feels comfortable after a long day, keep it. Comfort is not a design crime, but here's what might be happening. That large, comfortable piece is surrounded by things that amplify its visual size instead of absorbing it. And that's the actual problem, not the furniture itself. A large sofa pushed flat against a wall with nothing surrounding it looks enormous in a room. That exact same sofa with a floor lamp standing behind it, a side table beside it, and a rug beneath it looks intentional, designed, and at home in the space. The room adjusts around it because the furniture feels like part of a complete picture rather than an object dropped in the middle of a room. The fix is not a new sofa. The fix is what surrounds it. Pull it slightly away from the wall, even 4 to 6 inches or 10 to 15 centimeters, and you create a shadow gap that gives the piece immediate visual definition. Make sure your rug is large enough that at least the front feet sit on it. Add a floor lamp behind it. Those three changes alone transform a large piece of furniture from a problem into a focal point. The bookshelf that stops halfway up the wall. This one surprises almost everyone because it goes completely against what most people assume. When people have a small living room, the instinct is to buy shorter bookshelves. Less height, less visual weight, the room won't feel overwhelmed. It sounds right. It looks right in the store. But here's what actually happens. A bookshelf that ends 5 or 6 feet off the ground creates an artificial horizon line on your wall. Your eye reads that line as the ceiling. A room with 9-foot ceilings suddenly feels like it has 5-foot ceilings. You didn't lower the furniture. You lowered the entire room. Floor-to-ceiling shelving does the exact opposite. It draws your eye all the way up. And based on what designers consistently observe, this makes the ceiling feel dramatically taller and the room feel more expansive, even if the top section holds nothing but a few items you never touch. You don't need to buy new shelving. If you have a standard bookcase, many brands sell stackable extension units that sit directly on top. IKEA's Billy system is the most well-known, but similar options exist at Target and Walmart. One of the cheapest changes with one of the most dramatic results. A living and dining area with no visual separation. For everyone watching who doesn't have a fully separate living room, which is most of us, if your sofa and your dining table share the same open floor plan, this is for you. One of the biggest reasons combined rooms feel cramped is that the brain can't locate where one zone ends and the other begins. Without a visual boundary, the eye tries to process everything as a single overwhelming space, and when it can't make sense of it, the room tends to feel smaller and more chaotic than it actually is. You don't need a wall. You need 3 things, none of which require a contractor. First, a rug underneath your seating furniture, not the dining chairs, defines the living zone and tells the eye where it ends. Second, a floor lamp or table lamp in the seating area creates a warm pocket of light that separates it from the dining space, even when all the overheads are on. And third, free. Rotate your sofa slightly, even just a few degrees away from the dining table. That small angle signals 2 different spaces are happening here. Once both zones are defined, both areas tend to feel larger. Arranging furniture without accounting for your doorways. For anyone who has ever genuinely thought, I have tried everything, there is nowhere to put anything, this room simply does not work. If your living room has 2, 3, or 4 doorways into the hallway, kitchen, entry, bedroom, you know exactly what I mean. Every time you place the sofa, it blocks a door. Every time you try to create a seating area, the pathways disappear. The room feels impossible. It's not the room, it's the order of operations. Here's what professional designers do before placing a single piece of furniture. They subtract the walkways first. They mark every doorway, trace a path from each one to wherever people naturally need to go, and protect a minimum of 30 inches of clear passage along each path, 36 inches wherever space allows. That's 75 to 90 centimeters. Once those paths are marked and protected, what remains is your actual usable living room. And in almost every case, it's larger than it felt when you were fighting the traffic flow instead of working with it. Now the puzzle has a solution, and the room that felt impossible becomes one that actually functions. The rug that's too small. Look at your area rug right now, if you have one. Is it floating in the middle of the room with no furniture touching it? Are the sofa legs completely off it on both sides? Does it look like a small island sitting in the middle of a much larger sea of floor? If yes, and I say this with complete kindness, that rug is making your room feel smaller every single day, and it's doing it so quietly you've probably never connected the two. A small rug in the center of a room fragments the visual space. It creates a defined area surrounded by a large, undefined area. Rather than anchoring the furniture and unifying the room, it draws attention to how much empty, disconnected floor there is around everything. Scattered reads as small. The rule as consistently recommended by interior designers. At least the front two legs of every major seating piece should sit on the rug. All four legs is better. For most living rooms, that means an 8 by 10 foot rug as the starting point, approximately 240 by 300 centimeters. A 6 by 9 works in smaller spaces, as long as the front legs are on it. Yes, it sounds large. Yes, it feels like too much in the store. And without exception, once it's on the floor, people say the same thing. I cannot believe how much bigger the room looks. The mirror in the wrong place. The fastest free upgrade in interior design when you get it right. And one of the most quietly wasted opportunities when you get it wrong. A mirror, placed correctly, can make a smaller room feel dramatically more expansive. It bounces light across the room and makes every dimension feel more open. And it costs nothing to move. But a mirror only works when it reflects something worth reflecting. If your mirror faces a blank wall, a dark hallway, or another piece of furniture, it is not expanding your space. It's just decorating it. In a small room, decoration without function is a wasted opportunity. The principal designers rely on a mirror, positioned across from a window or light source, reflects that light back into the room, creating a sense of added depth and openness. When it reflects a dark wall, it reflects darkness. The room gets nothing from it. Before you buy anything, move the mirror you already have to a wall facing your best window. Give it 1 week. Most people feel the difference within a couple of days. Blocking your natural light. This might be the one that changes how you experience your home starting tomorrow morning. Natural light is the single most powerful space expander in home design. It costs nothing. It's already there. And a significant number of people are blocking it with blinds, heavy curtains, valances, layered treatments that never fully open without ever connecting that to why their room feels as small as it does. Think about your living room right now. How much of each window is actually visible during the day? Blinds partially closed, curtains pushed halfway to the side, a valance cutting off the top of the window? Every inch of blocked glass is working against your room. What designers and researchers in environmental psychology consistently find is that light plays a fundamental role in how spacious a room feels. The more freely it moves through a space, the more open and expansive it tends to register. I want to give you one exercise. Tomorrow morning, before you do anything else, fully open every window covering in your living room, every blind, every curtain, every sheer panel, all the way. Leave them that way for 1 hour, then come back and look at the room. Most people who do this for the first time say some version of, "I had no idea. It feels like a completely different room." If privacy is the concern, sheer curtains. A lightweight sheer lets light pour in while maintaining privacy from the street. Hung at ceiling height, fully open during the day, one of the least expensive and most effective changes you can make. And they cost less than a dinner for two. Dark floor with no contrast on the walls. And we arrive at number 1. This is the mistake I've seen most consistently in California condos, in Florida retirement homes, in Texas ranch houses, across every style and every budget. It is the one that nobody names. And once I show it to you, you will never stop seeing it in every room you walk into for the rest of your life. Here it is. A dark floor, dark hardwood, dark tile, dark carpet, combined with walls in a similar tone, whether that's a medium gray, a warm beige, a greige, or anything that falls in the same color family, removes the visual boundary between the ground plane and the walls. In interior design and environmental psychology, contrast between surfaces is understood to be one of the primary ways we distinguish the separate planes of a room. When those planes are close in tone, the eye has more difficulty reading the room as a defined three-dimensional space. Based on what designers and color researchers consistently observe, This tends to make the room feel compressed, as if it's closing in from the ground upward, even when the actual square footage is perfectly adequate. Picture a room with dark wood floors and white walls. 3 separate planes, instantly readable. Floor here, wall there, ceiling above. The brain processes it as open, clear, and spacious. Now picture that same room with walls painted a warm gray close in tone to the floor. The visual line between floor and baseboard blurs. The planes merge. The room compresses. Nothing else changed. Not the furniture, not the size, not the light. Only the contrast. And the room feels measurably smaller because of it. This is why rooms that look enormous in professional photographs almost always show strong contrast between floor and wall. It's not an accident of the camera. It's a deliberate design decision based on how our eyes process the distinction between surfaces. The fix is not painting your floor. It's shifting your walls, or at minimum your baseboards, to a tone that creates clear visual contrast with your floor. You don't need white. You don't need anything dramatic. You just need different enough that the eye can draw a clean line between where the floor ends and where the room begins. Once you make that change, the living room you've lived in for years will feel like it will grow in every direction overnight. Without moving a single piece of furniture, without spending anything beyond a can of paint.